A car is designed with steel safety cages and crumple zones to absorb kinetic energy during a crash. A motorcycle has neither. When a tire locks at highway speeds, the energy of that forward momentum doesn't dissipate. It transfers directly into the rider's body. This lack of physical protection is reflected in the data. While motorcycles only make up 3% of registered vehicles on U.S. roads, they account for roughly 15% of all traffic fatalities. Because high-performance sport bikes involve high-velocity friction and rotational forces, these wrecks are often classified as sports injuries. This label reflects trauma usually seen in high-impact athletics, catastrophic soft tissue shredding and rotational damage to the brain that goes far beyond the bruising of a standard car crash. These specific physical traumas lead to a different tier of medical debt. Recovering from a traumatic brain injury or complex road rash requires years of neurological therapy and specialized skin grafts, costs that a standard commuter policy rarely accounts for. This makes a motorcycle crash more than a medical crisis. It is a persistent financial threat, where your long-term solvency depends on how you handle the next 48 hours. Within days of a crash, you will likely receive a call from the at-fault driver's insurance adjuster. They may offer an immediate check, perhaps $5,000 or $10,000, to cover your immediate bike repairs and hospital copays. That check is actually a legal exit ramp for the insurance company. Accepting those funds requires you to sign a release, which permanently waives your right to seek further compensation, regardless of how your injuries develop. The danger lies in the gap shown on this trajectory graph. Latent soft tissue damage and TBI symptoms often take months to reach peak severity. By the time you realize the true cost of your recovery, the flat line of your initial payout has been eclipsed by escalating medical debt. Adjusters capitalize on your immediate financial stress to push for a quick settlement. They want you to accept the fast cash before you realize you're entering the zone of out-of-pocket ruin, where you are left to pay for your own future surgeries. Choosing immediate liquidity over a long-term claim evaluation is a primary cause of post-accident bankruptcy for riders. The value of your claim is not just about your injuries, it is about where the tires hit the pavement. Each state applies a different mathematical formula to determine who is responsible for the bills. This map shows the legal grid. 18 states mandate helmets for everyone, while 32 offer partial or total free choice. Those rules interact directly with local negligence laws to determine your final payout. In many free choice states, insurance companies use comparative negligence as a penalty. If a jury values your damages at $100,000 but finds you 20% at fault for not wearing a helmet or for slightly exceeding the limit, your payout is automatically cut to $80,000. In states like Virginia or North Carolina, the math is absolute. Under pure contributory negligence, if you are found even 1% at fault for the crash, the law prevents you from recovering any compensation at all. Navigating these geographic minefields requires understanding local statutes that most unrepresented riders simply don't have. Adjusters often lean on a strategy called biker bias. This is the assumption, frequently shared by juries, that any motorcyclist on a high-performance bike is inherently reckless or speeding. They validate this bias through the friendly call. They will ask for a recorded statement under the guise of helping your claim, while actually looking for phrases they can use to frame you as a reckless rider. This is why an apology at the scene is a major liability. Saying "I'm sorry" to the other driver is a polite social reflex, but in a civil court, it is treated as a formal admission of guilt that can sink your claim. Once the adjuster has your statement, they will often pivot to a blame shift. They will argue that you were lane splitting or riding too aggressively for conditions, moving the financial burden from their driver back to you. Adjusters are trained negotiators whose job is to protect their company's bottom line by recharacterizing driver negligence as rider error. Defending against these tactics actually requires a legal team that understands the specific mechanics of a motorcycle crash. A specialized lawyer uses accident reconstructionists to counter biker bias. These experts use physics, skid mark analysis, and traffic footage to prove scientifically that the car driver caused the collision. They also utilize specialized economists to calculate your lost earning capacity. This accounts for the lifetime of wages, pension contributions, and healthcare benefits you lose if you can no longer work at your previous level. Combining physics with economic data provides a factual foundation that forces the insurance company to negotiate based on the actual value of your loss. Most motorcycle attorneys operate on a contingency fee, meaning they take roughly 1/3 of the final settlement. For many riders, that percentage feels like a significant loss. To see if that fee is worth it, we have to look at the net outcomes. This chart compares a typical solo settlement in Bar A against the gross legal settlement usually achieved with an attorney in Bar B. On average, a specialized lawyer secures a gross settlement 3 to 5 times higher than what a rider achieves alone. Even after the lawyer takes their 1/3 cut, the scale of the total settlement changes. When you compare the net legal payout to the solo settlement, the math is clear. You end up with a significantly higher amount in your pocket even after the legal fees are paid. The trade-off is time. While an insurance check might arrive in weeks, complex litigation involving TBIs and economists can take 1 to 2 years to reach a final verdict or settlement. For most riders, waiting for the higher net payout is the only way to ensure they have the funds needed for a lifetime of medical care. If your accident involved no injuries and only minor cosmetic damage to the bike, you can likely resolve the claim with the insurance company directly. However, if you are injured, look for a lawyer with these specific qualifications. You need someone who focuses on severe trauma, has a documented history of winning TBI cases, and maintains an active trial schedule to show insurance companies they aren't afraid of a courtroom. Immediately after a crash, your priority should be creating a medical trail. See a doctor even if you feel fine. A professional diagnosis is the only way to link delayed onset soft tissue injuries to the crash in a legal setting. You also need to be aware of your state's statute of limitations. In most jurisdictions, you have a 2 to 3 year window to file. If that clock runs out, your right to any compensation is gone forever. Deploying a specialist provides a financial defense against a system designed to protect the insurance carrier's profit margin. It ensures the party responsible for the mistake is the one who pays for the recovery.